Hello everyone. In this video lecture, we are going to discuss about the laws of thermocouple, and there are three laws. The very first is known as law of homogeneous circuits. The second is known as law of intermediate metals, and third is known as law of intermediate temperatures. On these three laws, thermocouple functioning depends. Now, what is thermocouple? Have a revision. When two dissimilar metal wires are joined together at one end, a voltage is produced at the other end that is approximately proportional to the temperature difference. Now, here in the picture, you can watch that the red wire is made up of iron metal and the black wire is made up of copper wire. And these two metal wires are joined together at this point, which is known as junction, and the other 2 points are open so that we can measure a voltage. We can connect a voltmeter across these two terminals. If we are not connecting any apparatus or any measuring device, and if we are joining these 2 points, then it will act as another one more junction. So this is junction 1, and if we are connecting these 2 points together, this is junction 2. So when the two dissimilar metal wires are joined together, and if there is a temperature difference between junction 1 and junction 2, then there will be a current conduction in the closed loop. Here, for the measurement of voltage, the second junction is opened. It is not connected together. A voltmeter is connected in between the another end of the iron wire and the copper wire. So, via the voltmeter, the current will pass. Now, here the polarity is shown. The positive indicates that iron wire at this end it is having the positive polarity for the voltage, and here in the copper wire this is the negative polarity, and the polarity may be reversed depending upon the temperature junctions. Now, the junction of two different metals behave like a temperature sensitive battery. Temperature sensitive battery means if these two junctions, if this is a junction 1, let me tell you, if this is a junction 1 and we are connecting these two ends, then if this is junction 2 and if this is connected with the wire, if this point is connected with the wire like this, so this is the junction 2. So what is the temperature difference? The junction 1 temperature, say it is 30 degrees Celsius, junction 2 temperature is at 60 degrees Celsius. So the temperature difference is 30 degrees. 60 minus 30 is the 30 degree. So if there is a temperature difference between junction 1 and junction 2, then there will be a current conduction without inducing any voltage source. Okay, and for watching it, what we do, we are opening this another junction end and we are connecting a voltmeter. So what will we have? This voltmeter will show the voltage of around millivolt or microvolt, and this is the phenomena of thermocouple. Now let us have a look on the working principles of thermocouple. There are three effects. First is known as Seebeck effect, another is known as Peltier effect, and third one is known as Thomson effect. Among these three effects, the very first, that is known as Seebeck effect, is most prominent in thermocouple. And what is the statement given by Mr. Seebeck is, when two different or unlike metals are joined together at two junctions, an electromotive force EMF is generated at the two junctions, and the amount of EMF generated is different for different combinations of the metal. Means, as we have seen here in this, that if there is an iron wire and a copper wire, and if we are connecting both the wires at two ends, then there will be a generation of voltage across junction 1 and junction 2. And this can be measured with the help of a voltmeter. So, Seebeck effect states that the amount of EMF generated is different for different combinations of metals. There are few selected metals. By using those metals, we can make thermocouple. Couple means two, and thermocouple means it is a combination of two metallic wires which is generating or which is working as a thermoelectricity. Okay. The next one is Peltier effect, and it is just the reverse phenomena of Seebeck effect. Just reverse phenomena of Seebeck effect. What it states, the electric current flowing through the junction connecting two materials will emit or absorb heat per unit time at the junction to balance the difference in the chemical potential of the two materials. Means if we are doing the just reverse process here in this diagram, just we are doing the reverse process. What we are doing, if we are taking thermocouple set and we are generating EMF voltage at one end, then automatically this junction 1 and this second end will have a temperature difference. There will be a creation of temperature difference. So the reverse process is known as Peltier effect. Let us watch with this diagram. This red circle is hot temperature junction, and this TC is cold temperature junction. B is a metallic wire and A is a metallic wire. The metallic wire A is connected at the two ends with the metallic wire B. Okay. So, what Seebeck has seen that the voltage difference generated by two junctions of dissimilar metals is directly proportional to the temperature difference between the two junctions, and the two junctions are TH, that is hot junction, and cold junctions. So, if the B wire is having a greater length and we are taking the voltage difference with the help of a voltmeter, so we will be able to watch a millivolt range voltage. And just opposite to this is the Peltier effect. It says that when a current is passed through a junction of dissimilar metals, it is a reverse process, means that we are not making the hot junction and cold junction. We are just connecting the wire A with wire B at 2 points, and we are connecting a source here. In this point we are connecting a source, and then due to the EMF source the current will flow. Then what will happen? The current will flow and create or generate temperature difference across the wire A. Means automatically there will be a generation of hot junction and cold junction. So the just reverse process of the Seebeck effect is known as Peltier effect. If the current is passed in the opposite direction, it will cool down. Means if this is the positive polarity and this is the negative polarity, at this time this red circle is hot junction and blue circle is cold junction. If we are reversing the polarity of this voltage, then what will happen? If we are making this one negative and this one positive, if we are doing like that, then this will become hot junction and this will become cold junction. Okay. So, the just opposite phenomena of Seebeck effect is Peltier effect, on which thermocouple acts. The Peltier effect is the basis for modern day thermoelectric refrigeration devices, and Seebeck effect is the basis for thermoelectric power generation devices. When we say thermoelectric refrigeration devices means when there is no compressor like device. Okay, it is the process which is based on the Peltier effect. It works on the thermoelectricity. Now, the third one is known as, let me show you. The third one is known as Thomson effect. What Thomson effect is, when two unlike metals are joined together forming two junctions, the potential exists within the circuit due to the temperature gradient along the entire length of the conductors within the circuit. This is the extra line which is included in this Thomson effect. This is the extra line which were not included in the Seebeck effect. Here it says that the potential exists within the circuit due to temperature gradient, temperature difference along the entire length of the conductors within the circuit. Along the entire length means as the length is changing, the temperature difference creates the potential existence, and according to the length, the potential value is also changing in the circuit. But this potential existence in the entire length is of very little amount, which can be neglected by making proper selection of metals. So, Thomson effect is not more effective in thermocouple. Okay, so what is the most important that we have to know? That is Seebeck effect, and Seebeck effect is it can be shown by using either voltmeter, by using a recorder or any other electronic device. Here just the Seebeck effect is shown that it is a low temperature junction, blue one circle, and this is hot temperature junction which is marked as red circle. Metal A is with the blue line and metal B is shown with the green line. And what we know that the current, if it is makes a closed loop circuit, then in this closed loop circuit, due to the temperature difference at two junctions, the current will pass. Okay, and what will be the direction of current? We will discuss about the direction further. Here, if we want to record the temperature variations and its effect on the voltage or current, the recorder can be used. Here it is shown a digital oscilloscope. In the digital oscilloscope, the magnitude as well as graph can be seen. Here, the metal wire A, the metal wire B, and this is high temperature and this is room temperature. Blue one is the room temperature. So, if we want to measure voltage, we have to open this another junction, since we know that at room temperature, a copper wire, this black wire is copper wire for connecting recorder with this room temperature junction or room temperature of metal A and metal B points. Okay, so what is the functioning? That this junction is at high temperature and the another point of another end of the metals are at lower temperature. Then with the circuitry of recorder, there will be a closed loop. Current will flow, and due to this current conduction, the EMF at these two open points can be recorded in the recorder. Now, what is the ideal thing? The ideal thing is that the cold junction should be at 0 degrees Celsius. That's why here ice water is taken. And it is known as reference junction. In ideal case, ice water or ice point is taken, and in practical case, this point is at room temperature, that is at 23 degrees Celsius. Here the two wires, chromel wire and allumal wire, both are alloy, have been taken, and this red point shows the hot junction, chromel / allumal measurement, and the other point, which is at room temperature, is connected with the copper wire, and this copper wire ends are connected with a voltmeter. And this complete is actually the practical circuitry. There is few changes with this ideal circuitry. This figure 1 is actually the ideal circuitry, and this red box circuitry is the practical circuitry, because in practical sense, here you can watch that copper wires is a third wire connected with this two dissimilar wires. It is connected and showing the result in the voltmeter. Now, what about the direction of the current? Now here you can see that in this there is a series of metals or alloy, and in this series the metals are arranged in a series by Seebeck, so that in a circuit made up of any two of the metals, the direction of the current at hot junction is from the one mentioned earlier in the series to the one mentioned later in the series. Now in this series you can watch that there is a zinc which is coming earlier than the iron, Fe. So if we are taking the two wires which is of zinc wire and iron wire, then at hot junction the current conduction will be from zinc to Fe. As a sentence here, the direction of the current at the hot junction is from the one mentioned earlier in the series to the one mentioned later in the series. So here you can see in this diagram you can watch that two wires copper and iron is taken. Now watch in the series, where is copper? Copper is far before than iron. Fe is here. This is this one is Fe. 1 minute, let me show you. This is Fe, iron, and this is copper. So copper is coming earlier to iron. So what will happen in the hot junction? The current is from copper to iron. The current is from copper to iron in this direction. Okay? And that just suppose, because we know that in a closed loop current flows in one direction only. So following the same direction, what will be direction of current in cold junction? In the cold junction, the current direction is the later one metal to the earlier one metal. Here iron is coming later than the copper. So in the cold junction, the current direction is just opposite to the hot junction, and it is from iron to copper. So I have explained you what is the cause of electricity, how without any EMF source, without any voltage source, current conduction starts in the closed loop if there are two different junctions at two different temperatures. Okay, and now the direction of current in the wire at two different junctions is also explained. Now we have to study the law of thermocouple, on which thermocouple is working. The very first is law of homogeneous circuits. If two thermocouple junctions are at temperature 1 and temperature temperature T1 and temperature T2. Here you can watch the two wires are connected, wire number 1 and wire number 2, and the two wires are connected together at two endpoints, and the 2 points is at different temperature T1 and T2. Now the two ends are at two different temperature T1 and T2, but in between, if the wires are lying in other temperature zones, just like here this upper one wire 1 is at temperature T3 and the wire 2 is at temperature T4, but it is not the junction. Just remember, this is not the junction. So the voltage that is created across these two junctions will be independent and unaffected by any temperature distribution along the wires. So this is the law of homogeneous circuit, that since wire 1 is made up of one homogeneous metal, wire 2 is made up of another homogeneous metal, and along the wire, whatever be the temperature, the EMF generation depends only the temperature gradient at two different junctions, that is T2 minus T1. So this is the law of homogeneous circuit. Now the next is law of intermediate metals. Here the metal A and metal B, the two wires are constructing thermocouple, and if in between this thermocouple, if a third metal C is connected in between the thermocouple circuitry, then what will happen? A thermocouple system without affecting the EMF generated means there will be no effect in the value of T2 minus T1, which is causing the EMF. The temperature gradient T2 minus T1 will not cause any change in the voltage generated across these two junctions, junction 1 and junction 2, if any other metal is included in between the closed loop. And this can be helpful when we are connecting a third wire for measurement, as I had shown you a practical circuitry for the measurement of this one. See here, in this diagram I have shown you that a third metal wire copper is included, so that we can connect these two ends with the voltmeter. And if you will watch that, there is another junction, another junction here. This one is making a junction of chromel wire and copper wire, and here again there is a junction of chromel wire and copper wire. We know that one junction is at one end chromel wire and aluminum wire, and the another junction should be also of chromel wire and aluminum wire, as it is in the ice water. Okay, so you can watch that here I am showing 4 junctions, but actual 2 junctions are number 3 and number 4. Here it is written TC, it should be TH, hot junction. It should be TH, hot junction at higher temperature, and number 4 is at cold junction or reference junction. So these two are the actual junctions of chromel and aluminum. Here chromel and aluminum are connected together, here chromel and aluminum are connected together. But for the measurement process, we have to connect one voltmeter across this loop, in between this loop. So in between this loop, if we have to connect a voltmeter, we know that a voltmeter wires are made up of either aluminium or copper or any good conductive material. So third wire is also making a junction, which I have shown here with the help of junction 1 and junction 2. So if both the wires as shown with the black one, if both the wires are of same metal, so it is acting as a third wire and it will not create any problem, any change in the reading of voltmeter, and that's why it is known as the law of intermediate metals. Means by unaffecting the temperature difference which is causing a voltage difference across these two junctions, a metal C can be easily connected, which helps us for the measurement process, and due to this only the measurement is possible. Okay, now next law is, here I have shown with my own handwriting. See here, this two junctions temperature is same, temperature T1 and T2, temperature T1 and T2. Alloy A and alloy C. The alloy C is the third material, and if in this thermocouple 1, this is thermocouple 2, in the junction earlier shown, we can be thought of two thermocouples. The very first is made up of alloy A and alloy C, and the second is alloy C and alloy B. So what will be the EMF? The EMF of first thermocouple is EAC, and the thermocouple next thermocouple is ECB EMF. Now if this alloy C is omitted and we are making a thermocouple of alloy A and alloy C, maintaining the two junctions at the same temperature T1 and T2. See here, this is T1, 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 and here T2, T2 and T2. So what we will be able to was that EAB is actually EAC plus ECB. So this one is actual the construction of chromel and alumel, and for the measurement purpose, if alloy C, that is a copper, can be included. So this is the mathematical verification through which we can be easily understood that here EAC plus ECB is actually EAB. So including alloy C, third material, in between alloy A and alloy B will not affect the EMF generation across these two junctions. Okay. Now the third law, that is known as law of intermediate temperatures. This law is useful in practice because it helps in giving a suitable correction in case of a reference junction temperature. Again, I am showing you the earlier one diagram, in which here again this is the practical circuitry as I have told you. Here the third metal inclusion we have discussed, but you can watch that in the circuitry the third temperature is also there. This is the hot temperature, this is the reference temperature, and this point, if I take this as another junctions, there are two different junctions, then these are at another temperatures, because the thermocouple may be at blast furnace, may be at microwave oven for sensing the temperature, and this voltmeter is at control room, and control room temperature is different temperature. It is a different temperature. So this is the cause, or this is the point where we have to think about the law of intermediate temperature, and what it is that I am showing you that, let me show you here. If a thermocouple is calibrated for a reference junction temperature of 0 degrees Celsius and used with a junction temperature of 20 degrees Celsius, then the correction required for the observation would be the EMF produced by the thermocouple between 0 degrees Celsius and 20 degrees Celsius. If every time 0 degrees Celsius reference junction is not available and we are taking the reference junction 20 degrees Celsius, then there is a need of correction. And how do we have the correction? By the help of intermediate temperatures. That, see here here in the law of intermediate temperatures, metal A and B are same in the both two thermocouples, while there is a concept of intermediate temperature T2. Say T1 is the lowest temperature, T3 is the highest temperature, and T2 is the temperature in between T1 and T3. So if in the first case the EMF is E1 and in the second case the EMF is T2. Now in the ideal case the thermocouple is actually made up of metal A and metal B. So this actual thermocouple is having the EMF which is shown here as E3 is equal to E1 plus E2. So by using this formula E3 is equal to E1 plus E2, we can bifurcate the ideal circuitry in this form of two circuitry, as I have earlier shown the practical circuitry, and this one will create a concept of two thermocouples, and the two EMFs joining together or summing the two EMFs will give the actual reading of EMF across this T1 and T3. So this is the law of intermediate temperatures, and now this is about the formula of thermocouple. This is the mathematical formula. Here I am showing you that the EMF induced in a thermocouple circuitry is given by E is equal to A temperature gradient T2 minus T1 plus B the square of temperature gradient. So E is the induced EMF while A and B are the constants, and the temperature difference T2 minus T1, where the T1 is the reference junction temperature and T2 is the temperature of hot junctions. And the details of A and B are given in this slide also. You can watch it. So this was about the thermocouple, the working principle, the law of thermocouples, and this mathematical formula you can learn. Thank you, students.